on?
Sure. Yes, let's call the meeting to order. It is 7:32. And I don't see any public participants, so we do not have any public participation. Next on the agenda is we have two sets of minutes to consider approving from June 13th and from July 18th. I would suggest that we tackle those separately since different people may have been at different of the meetings.
All right, I'll motion to approve the June meeting minutes. Second.
All right. Going in my Zoom order here. Kevin?
Yes.
Robin?
Yes.
John? Oh, you're muted. I can't hear you.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Jen?
I'm going to abstain. I was not present.
Sounds good. Melissa?
Yes.
Anne?
Yes.
Am I allowed to tell Christina we're voting on approving, the motion on the floor is to approve the June 13th minutes?
Yes.
Yes. All right. And I'm a yes. So June 13th minutes are approved. And then how about the July minutes? Would anyone like to?
I'll motion for the approval of the July minutes. Second.
Thank you. Kevin?
I'll abstain. I was not present.
Robin?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Anne?
Yes.
Christina?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. July minutes approved also. 1, 2, 3, yes. Good. All right. Well, then let's get into some subcommittee updates. How about starting with Lily's not here yet from waste reduction. She said she might be a little bit late. Do we want to pause on her and come back? Or does someone want to report in from waste reduction?
I think we can probably report in.
Okay, go for it.
Christina, do you want to, or you want me to?
I'm not prepared to, but I can chime in.
Sports equipment swap was a success. Lots of swapping, donating, etc. But we do have a lot of items left over that we're trying to find homes for. We reached out to Dan from the rec department. He can't use them. And we've posted some on Buy Nothing, some were taken. So I think we're gonna continue with Buy Nothing posting and look for other options, possibly bring stuff to Play It Again Sports. We're trying to see what we can do. If anybody has any suggestions.
Is it a particular category of stuff or sort of everything?
I think it's a variety of things. Christina, I know you said you got rid of all the hockey sticks.
I hauled out all the hockey sticks and lacrosse sticks, and I just did a quick post to put them on the corner, and they all went. So I'm happy to do that. I don't know if it's where I live or whatnot, or the day, but I'm happy to try that out and see if we can get rid of some stuff.
Yeah, I think we have we have some hockey skates, maybe some baseball bats. I know Lily has most of the stuff, so.
Maybe some rollerblades.
Yeah.
Those are in there. But it was pretty successful from what I heard, that it was a really good event. People were really excited about it and wanted to know when the next one was.
Do we plan to do a next one?
Maybe in the spring, I would think. At this point, I think, I don't know if we want to store the stuff until the next time, or seems like a long time, but yeah, we'll have to figure it out. I think having it next to the farmers market was definitely a good thing because there's so much traffic. So I'm not sure, like, not doing it next to the farmers market would be as successful, but yeah, we'll have to discuss it in subcommittee.
Would it be acceptable for us to bring maybe a small volume of leftover stuff to Town Day in September, if we're gonna have a table there. I figure that's a high traffic. I don't know if people are gonna want to grab a pair of skates and walk them around Town Day, but
Yeah. Not sure that's the best event for it.
we did get one note, and this is entirely my fault. The sign that I gave you for to put the flyers on was political in nature, and since it was not entirely covered up, we did receive some complaints about the political sign being on town property and next to the farmers market. So I apologize for giving not a vanilla sign. I should have found some less contentful sign to offer up. I was trying to reuse things, but so
I
we will be
mean,
more
we
careful
covered it
next
up as-
time to,
We covered it up pretty good, but there's some
yeah.
letters that were still showing.
Yeah. So now we know, and for future events, you know, for putting up signs at other events, anything of political nature can't be on town property and is certainly not welcome at the farmers market. So again, my fault for giving us a inappropriate sign to use as the base plate for the signage. So sorry
I
about
don't
that.
think anybody knew, so it's nobody's fault.
But glad that it was so successful and that folks want to do another one. It's a good sign if there's that much interest in the swap.
Yeah, I'm not sure if people were mostly wanting to get rid of stuff and that's why they were excited or so yeah, we'll have to see what we want to do next with that.
Very cool.
Yeah, other than that, I think we had talked previously about doing a repair cafe possibly in the fall. So I think that's next on our agenda to discuss and figure out if, you know, that's doable for the fall or not. And we are also looking into multifamily recycling, since that was brought up again during, I think, our June meeting. We had a public participant that came and was wanting to talk about it and see what we could do about it. So that's also something we're going to be getting back into and seeing what can be done.
That's great. Related to waste reduction for the schools for composting and food rescue, we have been assigned benefited with 2 workers through the senior tax write-off work program. Through the senior center, there's a program where people who volunteer hours working for a town something can get a discount towards their taxes, whatever that thing is called, that program. We have 2 workers who are going to be helping in the Woodville school at lunches in the fall into January. So it doesn't cover us for the whole year because the program ends in January. But hopefully by January, the kids will have figured it out and we'll find some sort of backup support. But the senior center was excited to help us to find the people. And the principal is excited to have extra help. So when we kick off the food rescue and compost stuff in the fall, we can get them trained and up to speed, and they'll help with like general cafeteria, you know, opening milks and stuff like that too, but also really be focused on helping the kids get the stuff into the right bins, making sure the cooler gets wheeled out and the food put away and all of the things that just need extra hands that the Woodville team struggled a little with this past year. So
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So they're going to be there every day.
I believe the way it worked out, they're going to be there every day for the first couple of months and then maybe reduced to a couple days a week for the remainder. I think
Okay.
that's something that we can be a little flexible on and see how it's going. Kevin?
Were other principals from the other elementary schools interested? If there were additional senior citizens that wanted to participate in the program?
We didn't suggest it to any of the others because so far the other schools
smaller, and they have kind of better supervision at lunch because they're smaller, and they also have like Walton, there's like a full-time staff person in the lunch period, and then Greenwood, there also is a good lunch monitor that's hands-on there. So
Okay. Okay. Sounds great.
Yeah, this came out of some feedback from Woodville at the end of the school year that, you know, good start to the program, but they were really struggling with the just sort of hands-on piece. And we as a body couldn't support. We'll be in the schools for a few days in the beginning of the year, but we can't have someone there every day for lunch. So it was and I don't even remember where the idea came from.
yeah,
To
since
get a senior,
Woodville's the
but-
biggest school, I think it makes sense to have them there. So that's great.
So, and we'll kick that off just before the
Okay.
school year starts. So.
Are we gonna talk to them beforehand, or?
Yeah, I think we want to do like a kickoff meeting with the school staff and the lunchroom folks and all that, and get everyone excited for the new year.
Sounds good.
Anything
So,
else?
speaking of schools and waste, are they continuing with the compostable trays and stuff and no more styrofoam? Is that a dead question?
Oh yeah, that's styrofoam's dead.
Excellent, love it.
I assume it's dead. I could check in case it's quietly alive.
Well, so I think we've thoroughly switched away from styrofoam. For a while, we had compostable looking trays, but that weren't actually compostable with Black Earth facility. So that was part of the challenge last spring, was identifying the difference between those and making sure that we were consistently having the compostable ones so that we could in fact compost them. That was one of the big hurdles that Woodville suffered from, was there just it wasn't clear whether they were always compostable. And so we started the trays and then stopped it again and created
I think the
some
biggest hurdle
confusion.
Bill though is getting more bins. So I've been trying to follow up with Tim O'Brien on, what's the plan for that next year. So I'm hoping that I can talk to him for the school year starts.
Awesome. Anything else from waste reduction? All right. On community engagement and outreach. Oh, I have a show and tell. Hold on. Let me see if I can share my screen. Let me see if I can share my screen with sound. Share sound. Why can't I share sound? Share sound. Bear with me. It's going to be worth it. Can you see the video?
Hi there, I'm Jonathan Chives. I live on Hopkins Street, and we've had solar panels on our house since 2019, and it's been great. We find that we save money on our electric bill every single month. In fact, for the month of April, we actually had a negative electric bill, so we sold more energy back to the grid than we used, and so we had a credit on our electric bill that will apply to next month. And what's amazing about that is that we also have an EV, and so we've saved money even as we've also charged the electric vehicle. It was a really easy installation. There were a lot of discounts available through the federal government as well as through our local utility, and at the end of the day, we were able to pay for about 2/3 of the cost of installation with the credits and with the grants that we got. So it was really affordable, and I'd highly recommend that everyone else do it.
Yeah. So work in progress. There's some tweaks still. We had sent some edits and suggestions over to WCAT. They're going to include our logo and a QR code to our website, and it'll say Wakefield Environmental Sustainability Committee, not just Environmental Sustainability Committee. Other little tweaks, feedback welcome. Feel free to share other thoughts and suggestions. And that is the first one. We have several others teed up, but that is the first of the walk the talk. Your neighbors are doing these things, you can too, video series that WCAT is helping us with. So, and if you feel inspired, find a neighbor who's doing something sustainable and record a video of them. landscape or portrait, ideally audibly clear, and send it to me and we can tee it up in that same queue.
Awesome.
Ah. And any of you are welcome to record one too if you have good stuff that you're doing. I recorded one of my neighbor doing litter pickup on our street last weekend. So we're gonna make a series of them. They'll go out in WCAT's rotation. We'll put them on our social, and we'll find places to share them around. So.
And if there's any like DPW efforts that you want to shine a little head, effort through us, we're up, if there's an employee doing something and we, you want to highlight it, we could incorporate you guys, because why not give you guys some.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah. Ooh, maybe like someone bringing their metal and cardboard to the pit, or any of the groups that are using EVs, like anything like that. Yeah.
I'm hoping to do one on a rain barrel, and I will give DPW a shout out on that as well.
Nice. Very cool. So that's that, some progress. Grateful to WCAT for their skills and support in doing that. Some fun summer project. As far as other events, as we discussed last time, we have bowed out of having a table at the farmers market in September, because we had too many other events that we were planning to be at. So we are not doing that one. We are doing Town Day, so we'll have a table at Town Day on September 21st. Rain date September 28th, I believe. It's 1 to 4 p.m. I think we already caught a few volunteers for tabling, but if others are interested, please give a shout. And if you have particular things that you want to have us show or do at Town Day, I think we're going to do some composting awareness. We'll do our usual awareness of, our things and ideas and signing up to volunteer and that sort of thing. But if you have things you think should be at Town Day, let me know.
And is it being set up similar to the last one? Like, is there anything we should know about logistics of it?
No, very similar to last year. I think more vendors, but yes, more tables. But
I think we had talked about trying to do composting or something there. That's still an option.
Yeah, I think, Anne, you had suggested that you could both provide a compost bin that we can have people actively use, but then maybe have one that we do as a giveaway. Did you say that was possible?
so yes, I can give the bin away, but they would still have to sign up if it's a Black Earth bin. We also have we still have some home composters, and I'd be happy to donate one
Oh.
that you guys could give away. That would be fine.
I guess I was talking about composting at the event in general.
Like we did at Festival of the Lake, we had the bucket for people to drop stuff off in.
Yeah,
Well,
so I don't know what happened to those buckets at the actual buckets, but I can look for them. Yeah, we
Well,
could
I can provide the bucket if you guys will.
we can set that up. Sure. We can set it up, but it definitely needs someone to watch it like we decided last time, otherwise it becomes trash.
Well, and that also helps it to be an educational opportunity, right? So.
I'm not able to help on that day, unfortunately.
This is Jen. I can help on that day.
Hopefully. And Robin, were you going to? Yes. Okay. And Christine, I think you said you were going to be there, but for your business, so you might pop around and.
Correct.
Cool. Sounds good. And I will be there. So. Perfect. Well, that'll be fun. Other events. So we're trying to set up a tour of the Black Earth Compost facility up in Manchester, Mass. We sent them a few possible dates. We haven't heard back, but I think they're on vacation, the person that we're talking to. So date TBD. We'll try to carpool. Should be fun. We are also setting up for a next EV showcase. I've put in per Anne's good idea. We're going to switch to location of town hall parking lot. so that we don't have to worry about the construction of the new bathroom over by Veterans Field. And Town Hall parking lot is also super central and walkable and should be pretty empty on a Sunday. So I've submitted the application for that space. Should hear back soon, but assume that that'll be October 6th, which is a Sunday, tentatively until that is fully approved. And I just finished revving the survey for folks to sign up to show off their EVs. So I'll be sending that out real soon. And then I think we're going to do those little business cards again. So if you are someone who walks around town and sees EVs in your daily wanderings, I'd love to hand you a stack of a dozen of those cards that you can put, hand to drivers or tuck in people's windshields over the coming 6 weeks to get folks signed up. So stay tuned for that. I'll have those printed soon probably and try to get folks signed up. But I imagine we'll get at least some of the people who did it last year, whose email addresses we have from that event and our email list of, friends of the ESC. So hopefully we'll start off with a base of a good batch of vehicles. And then we'd love to have any of the town related vehicles. So Gas and Light brought 2 of their vehicles last year. We had the parking monitor truck, car, a few other things like that. So if folks have ideas for who we should reach out to, let me know, or when I send the email, feel free to just forward it to folks. Questions, thoughts, ideas? Okay, and you're all, of course, welcome to bring your EVs too.
I think I mentioned this before to you and maybe at another meeting, but I think it would be helpful this year if we had like some of the info on all the vehicles. Just I know people were like, well, how many miles or, what's your range and what year is this? Like things that maybe people could be like, oh, I want to look at this Tesla and this is this year versus, something like that. I know we want to paper, but maybe something that they can look at, a QR code, maybe if something electronic that they could look at, that at least they'll know what's there.
Yeah, I mean, we could certainly compile that information and have it like on a place that they can QR
Yeah, they
code
can
link
look
to.
at.
Yeah,
Happy to
that's a
help
great
with
idea.
that too. Yeah.
That would be great. I think once we start getting folks signed up, actually
Yeah.
finding and compiling that info is probably the manual labor part. So yeah, I would love help with that.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm just looking at, there may be a website where we can print something out like that. So I'm just looking to see if there's something that's easy to,
Oh yeah. So we don't reinvent the wheel.
yeah, and I'm just looking at the Alternative Fuels Data Center, but there may be something else. That's a good site for data on different vehicles.
Yeah, even just having that as a source from which to populate something, because we want to be able to sort of filter on who is actually at the event. Yeah, that's a great idea. If you have resources on that, that's awesome. Yeah, well, and I haven't sent the survey yet. So is there more information that we should collect from the owners when they sign up? Currently, I just am asking for make, model, and year.
Price range, maybe. Oops, sorry.
Is that
Sorry. I don't know if we want to
Maybe.
do like price range for the vehicle people, because there were people who were like shopping for EVs when I was there.
I think
I don't know if that's something that you
rebate
would be of interest or not.
eligibility would be helpful.
Yeah. I guess I'm curious whether asking that of the vehicle owners when they sign up is the best way to get that information, or if that's something that we should compile though, because like
Oh, yeah,
whether
yeah.
they were eligible when they bought it might not be the case anymore, because some of those rules have changed and continue to change. Similar like price, we could ask people like, what'd you pay for it? But that might be
Yeah.
very different
No,
than what
I
it would
wouldn't,
cost
I
today.
wouldn't ask people that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And with the credits, I know people were asking, well, what credits did you get? What did you, that sort of thing. Yeah. I mean, we can always just answer verbally. I just don't remember all of it, to be honest.
Yeah, and maybe that's just a tip to folks of like the folks bringing their vehicles prior to the event. it would be great if you knew off the cuff what your range is. You know, try to remember or look up sort of what this vehicle costs, so that if folks are asking you, you have answers.
The database that you suggested, Jennifer suggested, actually has that, so maybe
Okay.
that is a
Maybe just point to it.
kind of pointing to it, because then it's a it's not biased in case they have discounts or relation, you know, and it's more, I assume most people are just trying to understand relative to each other, right? Because
Correct, yeah.
even they can negotiate a different price, or, you know, with trade-ins and so forth, but this is listing, you know, the manufacturer sticker price, so it's pretty handy. I've never, you can choose year, fuel, class type.
Yeah, and another one that I know has all of the federal tax incentives, I'm just trying to find the right page, is fueleconomy.gov. So between those two, we should be covered for the kind of information you're looking for.
Beautiful. Yeah. And maybe we just put up a sign at the event that says, if you're looking for these kinds of information, here are some trustworthy websites to find it. Yeah. Cool, cool, cool. So yeah, so October 6th, tentatively, and please help start recruiting when you see the survey link go out. Otherwise, we have a couple of other sort of noodling on events of doing some sort of educational talk or panel about environmental justice communities. We're talking with some folks about who might be a good person to bring in to talk about that. That would potentially be a sort of joint event with other groups in town. And then we're considering perhaps doing a workshop, maybe with this group or an expanded group, using the En-ROADS climate simulation as a way to sort of explore some of the different levers and impacts and stuff. It's like a fun interactive tool. So I might see if I'll send around something about that, and if folks are interested, we could do that as a open event somewhere, ideally maybe in person, together as a group. So that is all from community engagement. How about climate action plan?
So we discussed at our last meeting about the zero emission vehicle policy that is required for the town to adopt for the Climate Leaders Program. So I've been looking into the town's vehicle inventory to see which vehicles would be exempt or not from the policy based on the weight. And so I think I've kind of narrowed down, you know, which vehicles would be most impacted by the policy, and gonna try to start talking to those departments and kind of feel out what their thoughts are. And yeah, so that's that's something that we're gonna be working on in the next few months to kind of get people's feedback on and see, you know, what the appetite would be for adopting a policy like that. And then we also,
how much, sorry, Melissa, sorry to interrupt. Is there a sort of set way that policy is supposed to, like, what is required to be in it? Or like, how much leeway do we have in
there's a
creating it?
template from DOER, so it's very
Okay.
basic. So it's yeah, it's very similar to the Green Communities vehicle policy.
Mhm.
It's really just taking that a step further uh, and kind of making it a little bit tighter on, you know, what's exempt or not, and kind of pushing for EV first, basically, and then as the priority, and then going down the list to, you know, hybrids or others after that. After that, you know, has been exhausted, that search for EVs for that specific vehicle. Yeah.
wonder
And
if it
then we
would be-
also, yep,
I wonder if it'd be useful for this group, since not, a bunch of us aren't on the subcommittee, to do like a walkthrough of it, maybe at a future meeting? Or like sort of what it would, like what the policy would look like at some point in the next few months as you're gathering feedback.
Yep.
It could be good to sort of get more folks,
yeah, because we
Thinking
want
about
to vote on it before we would take it to town council for vote.
right. Yeah, that's good.
And we also talked about Jen put together a draft climate plan from all the other climate plans we've been looking at. We kind of narrowed down what the different actions would be in each category that we're looking at. And so we kind of have a starting point right now, and that we're gonna add on to. So this would be what we have right now is just for residential and business, and then the decarbonization roadmap, which we have consultants working on. That would be the municipal part that we would add in later. And I believe Anne said that that roadmap is going to be finished fairly soon. So I don't know if you have any feedback on that.
So I haven't heard from them recently. I did send them an email, so we'll see when I hear back.
Yeah, I think they only had a set period of time to work on that. So hopefully it'll be done in the next month or so. And then we can take a look at that and see, what the suggestions are there, and then kind of add in some information for municipal actions into our climate plan so we can have a all-encompassing plan for the whole town. Yeah, and that's about it. Other than that, we've also been, Tiana, we've been working on that grant application for DOER. So we had a meeting today with Tim O'Brien and Pete Dion from the utility about we're basically going to be focusing on the Dolbear School, upgrading the HVAC system there. So the grant would be paying for the engineering and design of that system, and then we would be trying to get Green Communities grant money for the actual equipment purchase. So that system was actually originally in our Green Communities plan, so we're really just following the plan that we initially proposed. Just, I think, moving it up in time, probably. So yeah, that's the grant application's due next week. So I think Anne is just working on getting some approval letters at this point, and we should be good to go. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you. How about green spaces?
No update.
Green business?
Yeah, so we're in the process of promoting the green business pilot program. So we're actively looking for 5 Wakefield businesses to participate. We are doing a few different avenues, but we're looking to connect with the Town Day participants, because this is going to be a lot of Wakefield businesses. So we're thinking that that would be a good pool of people to sort of connect with. The pilot is, we're going to be helping businesses with the green purchasing, with recycling, with energy efficiency, and waste reduction. So, it's going to be a work in progress, but it's a pilot, so we're going to try to help as much as we can. So we're just really in the process of trying to recruit these 5 businesses. We are going to create an information page that they can access and start spreading the word, whether that's on posts or things like that. So we're just kind of in that process currently. Anything to add, Tiana, that I missed?
I would just say once that page is up, we'll share around to this group if folks, if you have favorite businesses or businesses that you believe might be interested in being in that pilot, we'd certainly appreciate you helping spread the word on that. And a lot of it is really aimed at, as Christine said, looking to learn, like, what are the challenges that businesses are facing in making greener choices with what they're doing. So hopefully in doing the pilot, we'll find some things that we can, whether we're approaching and in the DPW or Gas and Light or say, other folks in town and saying, hey, if businesses only, if only they had access to XYZ thing, they would recycle more, for example, and see if there are problems that we can help them to solve, connect the businesses to where solutions could be hiding out. So learning process. Cool. All right. Thank you, Christina. How about updates from our other liaisons and folks? Kevin, school committee?
Yep. So the deadline for kids signing up for the school bus is, I think, in about a week. I talked with the superintendent, and he said that one issue, because I actually asked him about increasing the amount of total kids that would be allowed to be on the bus. One issue is that there's just so few bus companies in the area, and it's actually a big deal to try to increase the actual amount of buses. And it's kind of a hard, budget / mathematical equation to make when you're doing it in the spring and summer. So yeah, basically once that cap hits, it's not like if we had 100 extra kids that wanted to, we could magically get a bus and get the extra 100 kids on it. Just because there's really not enough buses that these companies have. But I told at the last school committee meeting we had a couple of days ago, basically said that, we'll get an update about, hopefully that it's maxed out and there'll be a wait list for parents. Yeah, that's about it.
So, and I'm sure this would be a management nightmare, but so a parent signs their kids up for the bus, but don't intend to use it in the afternoons or morning, or whatever, just the logistics, but they sign up to have it partial. Is there any way to allow a waitlist kid to use the half that they don't use or whatever, sharing of a seat?
That seems like an absolute logistical nightmare. I could definitely ask Dr. Lyons about that. So you're saying if a kid was using it in the mornings but not the afternoon,
you can sign up. You sign up separately though. You sign up for morning or afternoon or both. And
okay.
since there's a price difference,
Yeah.
I think it's $260 for just one way and don't quote me on this, I think it's $390 for both. So I would assume that unless you intend to use both ways, at least a good deal of the time, you wouldn't sign up for both ways. You would just sign up for one or the other.
Okay.
All else equal, I would guess that there are more morning riders than afternoon riders just because of, after school programs and activities and things. So that still might be a challenge where, the numbers might not be sort of evenly matched. But hopefully people aren't signing up for a whole slot that they're not using.
Yeah, I could definitely. Oops, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I could definitely see a lot of parents, especially if you don't know if your kid's going to be doing an after school activity that they like. I could see a lot of parents signing up for both morning and afternoon, and then all of a sudden realizing, oh, my kid's going to be staying, at the Galvin, 3 days a week. So I could definitely see that shift. I just don't know how that could work logistically if we could, get people off the wait list, for the afternoons. But I'll ask. That's a good question.
Right. And you sign up for all days or no days. You can't sign up for I only want Tuesdays, Thursdays because they're doing an activity or something. Yeah. So
yeah.
Melissa, did you have a question?
Yeah, do we usually reach the bus cap for students, or is it usually under?
He told me it's general. There's a wait list generally that we hit the cap. The last numbers, which I think I saw 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think we had filled 50% of the number. I think we were halfway through the cap. So he didn't have the numbers 2 days ago, but the next meeting I'll have them.
Awesome. Thanks, Kevin. Anything else from the school side?
No, you already talked about the composting at the Woodville, and yeah, usually Dustin comes in and gives an update like around the beginning of the school year. So we'll definitely ask about that. But I'll follow up with Doug about those concerns too. So yeah, but nothing else for me. I know with the construction of the new building, I mean, I'm sure there's tons of like environmental stuff going on there, but like that's just such a big project that my expertise in that is not the best. So, but I can get an update on that too as well.
One thing that we kind of talked kind of on the side about is, okay, so if the buses are full, it means there's still a lot of parent pickup and drop off. How do we encourage parents to turn off their cars so they follow the anti-idling rules that actually exist? How do we spread the word?
That's on the agenda of the, oh goodness,
I know it was discussed.
parking board,
Okay.
the parking rules. I sent a note to whoever seemed like the relevant group, and the lieutenant involved in that said, yes, we are looking into it. It is on our, we're on it. So
Okay.
I believe they're on it. And but I haven't heard back, so we could follow up and see. But it sounded like there was some digging into what needs to happen to be able to put up signs to say, hey, remember there's a law about not idling.
Okay, so it's up to that parking person to do the signs.
Anne, do you have more info than I have? You're muted.
I think it goes through the traffic commission. So it's Lieutenant Joe Anderson is the would be the contact. So you can email him and then you can go before, they usually meet on Fridays, I think once a month, Friday mornings at 8. And you can go before them, plead your case, and then they rule on it, and then it goes from there.
Right. Lieutenant Anderson is who emailed me back and said, yes, this is a thing that we have heard folks concerns about, and we're looking into what to do about it. So thank you for reminding me of Lieutenant's name.
Do you think it would do they ever include it in like the newsletters? Like, reminder to parents, please don't do that.
I was gonna say the same thing. Is there a way that we could get in
Yeah.
the newsletter, even if they don't yet have it in there?
Because they do that for Doyle in the newsletter.
Oh.
They remind the parents, and they're strict because the teachers are out there to receive the kids because the kids are so little, but the teachers remind parents, turn your car off, turn your car off. So they do it for Doyle, but I don't know about the other schools.
That's a really good thought. Like besides signs, like there are other ways
Yeah.
to reach people. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they don't do it at the Dole Bear because my kids just graduated from there, so I could ask about that.
Yeah, I don't recall seeing any announcements about that at Woodville. I mean, and it's challenging because at least for drop off, there's like this slow moving parade of cars approaching the door. So if you're turning the car on and off every 10 feet that you move forward, that's
yeah. I don't think it's
but there
feasible.
is like a waiting around period of time that absolutely folks could not be idling. And at pickup time, there's a lot of idling going on. So yeah, it's worth reminders.
For drop off, it's not really feasible, but for pickup, I would imagine. I mean, I was just parked outside, but a lot of people are sitting there. So for pickup, it's feasible. I think.
Well, the Galvin too. I mean, so I live right near the Galvin. There's just a ton of cars idling outside the Galvin at pickup time. Yeah. Well, I mean, is that a next educational campaign of just reminding folks?
Well, maybe it's something we contact the PTOs about. They can put in their newsletters.
So newer cars have an auto off feature. I'm wondering, are people just overriding that? Like they automatically shut off at lights. Very free, if you're
I definitely know individuals that have turned that feature off their car.
Yeah.
My car's too old, so it doesn't have it, but I know people that turn it off. So.
Yeah, I was just wondering whether that's something that, is just being overridden. by folks.
I mean, certainly could be. EVs also wouldn't be emitting, like if an EV is sitting idling, it's at least not emitting anything.
And just because Kevin wasn't with us last year, and I guess because Anne's here too, I anticipate we're gonna want to do another pumpkin pickup in a couple months. So if it is asked, I'm still interested in doing it again. So that is something for the future. So Kevin, it was just the elementary schools. The Doyle wanted to participate last year, but Anne's funding didn't cover the next year's schools. So I don't know if that'll change this year.
What's a pumpkin pickup? You mean just?
Sorry, I didn't hear you, Kevin. What?
Oh, what initiative? Pumpkin
So-
pickup? Like
Yeah,
Halloween?
so we collected people's pumpkins after Halloween. And
Oh,
composted them.
okay. I get it. All right.
Right, it happened through and at the schools, like the drop-off spots were at the schools, and then so that's why the schools the PTOs announced it and helped promote. Yeah. I'm gonna mark my calendar for it. I want to be part of the pumpkin chucking team. That looked like fun.
It's a great workout. Many folks on this call have participated with it. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
On the anti-idling piece, just before we jump off of that, is there someone who would like to take on getting in touch with the PTOs and suggesting that some information be shared? Or even just want
I can do that.
that'd be great. And if you come up with some content, I'd be happy to post it on our Facebook also and share it around through that, and maybe the PTOs can put it there as well. But for if you can help get that word out in their newsletters, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, and we don't have any students at the moment. We'll have students hopefully joining sometime after the start of the year. Do we have Melissa, I'll follow up with you. I don't know what the process is for getting our next batch of students, but I'll follow up with you separately on that. So I think we are with DPW. Anne, what you got?
So good news, we have a new DEP MAC. His name's Brian Walsh. So he's having a meet and greet via Zoom next Tuesday at 1:30. So if anyone wants to go, let me know and I'll send you the link. So that's helpful. He's based out of Melrose, which is helpful. So hopefully he'll be a frequent visitor to us. In the past, I found they've been awesome group. So we're currently in the process of doing some investigation on our disposal and curbside pickup for trash. So our disposal is up next June, end of June, and our curbside will be up the following year. I think we had talked about that before. So we're now gathering contracts and seeing what others are paying and what options are out there. And the sad news is the trend on the recycling is just, the price is just, so we're going to go from zero. Currently we pay zero. And then I was looking at the Melrose contract, and if there's any contamination more than 20%, they're paying $240 a ton. So it's education's going to be key, to our success when we do have to get a new contract. So we've been busy trying to see what's out there and what things we can ask for and we should be aware of. So that's kept us busy. I will ask Black Earth now about the Doyle School for the pumpkin drop because I hated to disappoint them. So if I get ahead of this, hopefully we'll be able to add them in this year. And that's about all.
All righty.
And I love the recent statistics we had on mattresses and their new lives are
Yeah.
unlives. I'm not sure what the word is, but that was great. That was posted, or just how many mattresses collected in the last couple of months.
It's actually surprising, but yes, a lot of
So do
mattresses.
you guys notice a tonnage drop when we start getting those big items to go other places?
So absolutely, there's been somewhat of a tonnage drop, and especially if it's rained, because the mattresses are wet, and then when they get to it's just more tonnage that we pay for it. So it's interesting, but yes, we've seen a little bit of a drop, in in the tonnage.
That's great. Yeah, and any more of stuff like that, feel free to send it and we can post it. I think people enjoy seeing those kind of results, information.
Absolutely.
And can I just ask you a quick question? I know Melissa had mentioned there was a public participant at one of our meetings and he's in like a building that's more than 4 units. And he was sort of asking like what are his options? And we were talking about it as a group, but like, what are the options for somebody in Wakefield that does not have recycling at their
Sure.
building?
So cardboard, certainly they can bring to the pit for free on the
Okay.
days it's open. That's always an option. I always suggest to people when they call us, if they could contact their
Their
hauler
landlord?
and see, you know, if they can offer something, either their hauler or their management company or whatever, because certainly they could do it. The problem is the cost that now all new, from what we're finding, all new recycling contracts come with a fee. And that, I mean, I remember when I started 18 years ago, we would get these huge checks for our recycling and it was, you know, it paid for a lot of things. Now, I mean, at $2.40 a ton, that's currently now we pay $96.70 for our trash to be disposed. So it would be, you know, more than double of what you pay for trash disposal for recycling. So I think that's certainly going to be hard for a building of, you know, 40, you know, for them to add that cost on. So
Okay.
I'm hoping some alternatives come up in the next couple of years
Okay.
for all of us.
Yeah, we were sort of stumped too.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Anne, anything else from your side?
And then we're working on the grant. You'll see the midnight candle burning next week, but we will get it done by Friday. So.
I think next would be town council, John.
I'm enjoying it. I've gone and looked over a few of your last meetings, your prior meetings, and I'm trying to just catch up and enjoying the discussion. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And oops, sorry, go ahead, Melissa.
If there's anything to note that's going on in town council that we should know about.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you.
I was just curious if there's anything notable happening in town council that our group should know about.
Well, actually, in the last month, 2 weeks ago, we had an issue that I fought for going back a decade in regards to water conservation. And there's an effort going on right now. I lost a vote just recently with the fact that they're considering allowing dual meters on sewer, on your water input. Therefore, in my opinion, there's 2 factors here. You're encouraging people not to conserve water, and secondly, the people who don't want to water their grass and don't want to, you don't have a pool, are going to get charged more because of this how the system works. You want to take the time to explain it? Some people are confused. Going back to 2009, there was a policy put in by the prior Board of Public Works. And basically it said that if you put in a second meter, meaning you'd have to dig up the street, come in with a second service to your house, that you could get a discount. In other words, you could use 1 meter to water your grass and fill your pool, and that you wouldn't get a surcharge on sewer on that amount of water. So we put a probation on that. Going back in 2009, they just brought it up again. There are people who have sprinkler systems and have pools that argue that they're paying for more for sewer, that they're not, that they're getting penalized. It's the opposite. So the fact that if you're not being charged for sewer on a separate water meter, someone else is paying for it. So the people who don't use a lot of water or can't afford a lot of water are paying a penalty for that. Any
So
questions?
John, when you said you lost a vote, so was the vote to lift the
The-
moratorium or the vote was just to discuss it?
Vote was to continue the moratorium until the advisory board of public works comes back to us.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask that they, in their study, that they explain to us what would happen if only 30% of the people were paying for a second meter, and then 20 and 10. So the fact that when you get down to the point, once you start this, you can't stop. Okay, so once you allow people to do it, they're going to very cheaply be able to put a second meter on the house. They don't no longer have to put a second line in from the street. They're going to be able to put a second meter and tie it onto the first, and then they'll get a discount on their sewer charge. And people are saying, well, why should we pay for the sewer if the water going on our grass or the pools, is not a factor? And I argue that, well, it's only an issue now because now you can put a second meter in. If we don't allow them to put a second meter in, there is no issue. And again, from a conservation standpoint, when we are really in dire need of water, and we will someday have that happen again, you're going to have a situation where the people who are putting, water in their grass and filling their pools are going to have a cheaper water bill than the people who are conserving.
And is that because there's the volume, the rate you're charged for water and sewer depends on the volume that you're using? So by splitting it into a second meter, you're not reaching that next tier of volume as quickly?
Right. You're using the same amount of water.
Right.
Okay. But the meter that goes to the pool and the sprinklers is not allocated on the sewer charge. So the sewer charge is a penalty on top of all the other costs.
John, would the town be able to set different water rates for the two different meters? Because the sewer is a separate line item. The volume is based on the water at the moment. But if you had two meters, do they have to bill them at the same rate for the water portion?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just asking. Yeah.
They don't. No. But the issue here is, why would I put a second meter in if you're going to charge me more? So the whole issue is for the people who are, have their sprinkler systems and have their pools to get a cheaper service, to avoid a sewer charge. That's the whole issue. So I'm not sure there's a really reasonable answer to that. Now, I look at it from the point that forever, you only had one line coming in your house. And now all of a sudden, it was a compromise, in my opinion, when the Board of Public Works years ago said, okay, if you want to put another line in, you can get the water cheaper, the sewer charge reduced. I thought that was a pro. So I sponsored the issue, I think it was 2009, and we had a full board support on that, because the people in Wakefield, people who least support it, are going to get charged more. So I'm going to ask them in their analysis to look at what happens if 30% of the public put new second meters in, 40, 50, 60, the remaining people are going to get hit pretty hard. So
What percent have it now? Do you know?
pardon?
What percent of residents have a second meter now? Is that?
There's 200 people, I'll stand corrected, around 200 people who have a second line coming into the house.
Got it. Okay. Interesting.
So what's the next step on this whole thing?
The board of advisory, the advisory board of public works, and including the director. And I'm not sure if they're going to use an outside consultant. That they might not. They're going to do a further analysis and come back to the town council sometime in the fall.
Keep us updated.
Yeah, and let us know if there's anything that we can do to weigh in or support
Thank
good
you.
outcomes. Cool. All right. Yeah, we're always happy for news like that of sustainability related topics that are coming before the town council or anticipated to come before the town council. So if you believe something is going to come up in the coming months and you want to bring it to us for some feedback or sustainable committee thoughts on it, very welcome.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, next up is Jen, Gas and Light.
Yeah, so we haven't had a meeting since the last meeting I had here with you. So I don't have any additional updates from WMGLD, but I'll just say that jumping off of where what John was just talking about, the draft climate plan that we're putting, that we started to get some ideas for, does have a section about water use and how we could reduce the amount of water needed by our lawns, reduce the use of sprinkler systems, affect how people plant and what they plant. So all of that feels incredibly relevant to, I don't know that we can get people to give up their pools, but certainly what how they maintain their yard has a lot to do with the amount of water people are using.
Amen. And, the other issue is we just get grants and we're getting a lot of money in funding to basically to try to protect the lake. Okay, because the biggest difference when I was young and we used to swim in that lake is people using fertilizer on their lawns and they use the sprinklers. That's the one thing that there's a major factor in Lake Quannapowitt, what's causing it. All of that water is now draining into the lake and causing the damage to it. So I think when you talk about these efforts and these moves to change things in conservation, they talk out one side of their mouth and then they contradict themselves out of the other. So I agree with you, the fact that you have to bring all of these groups together and all of these thoughts together in one place. And I'll work with you on that.
Yeah,
Great.
we just shared a few things from Friends of Lake Quannapowitt about some of the efforts they've done recently to plant good native buffer plants around the lake. So there's certainly some vegetation related efforts underway, but yeah, I mean, I think a big problem is what is washing into the lake. So lots to do there. And is that something in the DPW's jurisdiction around like what things get planted where?
Around the lake, yes, engineering works on, they have that nice garden that they put in, by the tennis courts, by the pickleball or tennis pickleball, that garden there. So yeah, they work on that, around town, they're trying to do it on any of the grass strips, things like that. But as far as on private property, it's a tough
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say, if there's information from DPW on plantings that use less water, things like that, it would be great to be able to share that.
One thing I'd like to add is that part of the $2.2 million we're getting from the developers up the head of the lake is going to efforts in that area. And so some thought has to be put into that.
So is there a plan on how to use that, or is that still in the works?
I'm not aware of it. Let me say that we just received the notice of the 2.2 million within the last month. So I'm sure, between your group and other organizations in town, Board of Public Works, Advisory Board of Public Works, I think a lot of people be working on that. But I'm not aware of right now what the town's position is.
Right. Something we keep an eye on and weigh in on when the time comes. Very good. Next meeting, are folks good with the next meeting being September 12th? That would be our next current time. And how are we feeling about 7:30 now that we've made the switch to 7:30 from 7?
I like it.
I like it too.
Is there anyone who's wildly opposed? Hearing no wild opposition, we will have our next meeting on September 12th at 7:30. Any matters not anticipated? Anything else anyone wants to share? Oh, thanks for coming to the picnic. It was fun to see people and eat some yummy food and throw toys around in the yard. That was a lot of fun. We'll do it again.
Yes, thanks for setting it up.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Hearing nothing else, would somebody like to motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Kevin?
Yep.
Robin?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Christina?
Yes.
Lily?
Yes.
Anne?
Yes.
Stefan?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. We're adjourned at 8:38. Have a lovely evening. See y'all
Bye.
in
Have a good
September.
night.